What is going on, you guys? MissedThePart here back again. So, what is Sony's backup plan once Tom Holland's 2 films finally come to an end? So, we are going to be speculating on what could happen. And so, the recent news, it keeps going on. People keep saying that they're still negotiating, so there could still possibly be hope for the MCU and Spider-Man. But then there are some articles saying that it's a done deal and Sony will be taking the rights back after John Watson, Tom Holland are done the 2 films. So I mean, you know, we could talk about different things here about what Sony could be planning on in the future, and here's my thoughts on it. So I honestly believe that once Sony takes their hands on Spider-Man once again, I feel like they could go with a few different things here. Now this is just me personally, what I think could happen. I could see them either going back to the Amazing Spider-Man series, or they could actually do Spider-Man 4, which a lot of people were talking in the other video I made about, you know, Tom Holland apparently leaving. And this is an ongoing story as well. You know, this is continuing as the days and the hours go by. You know, everything's being updated, whether or not Sony and Marvel or, you know, Disney are finally negotiating and stuff. So, I mean, like, I honestly feel like Sony could do a few things here. And that is they could reboot Spider-Man, and I know that that would take a lot of people off, including myself. They could reboot Spider-Man, or they could go back to basics and probably bring Raimi back for Spider-Man 4, or they could even finish off what Mark Webb couldn't, and that is The Amazing Spider-Man 3. You know, they could do so many different things, and, you know, Sony owns the rights now to Insomniac Games. So, you know, imagine if they made a Spider-Man PS4-based movie. I know that was talked about. So there's so many different things here that Sony could actually be doing as the backup plan. You know, this video is called the backup plan. So, I mean, like, there is probably a lot of different backup plans. You know, Sony had backup plans when, you know, they were going to reboot The Amazing Spider-Man, and they had that in 2010. So, you know, who knows what they're planning behind closed doors. I do know that Sony definitely is really greedy, and Disney's really greedy as well. And, you know, I mean, when you can't really agree to stuff, then, you know, it probably gives Sony, like, what are they going to do? So, I mean, we could have Sony having, you know, Venom meet Spider-Man in the Venomverse. You know, we don't know if they're going to use Tom Holland's Spider-Man. They might even reboot it in the Venomverse, and that would be very interesting as well, which I really don't want them to reboot. But I mean, like, they must have some plans with Venom and Spider-Man in the future, and they probably know for sure that once they get the rights back to Spider-Man, and if they do, you know, if they don't agree to anything, that they're probably going to go down the path of Sony films again. They're going to be probably doing solo films with Spider-Man again, and it might not have the MCU in it. So I think there's a lot of different plans that Sony and Marvel have, and, you know, hopefully Marvel had plans, and, you know, Sony has backup plans if all doesn't go as well. So I mean, like, I honestly believe that Sony is still in the green light. I mean, like, other than, like, you know, not having Tom Holland, I still believe that Sony would still kind of be successful if they didn't have the MCU Spider-Man, because I think the backup plan is to have Venom and Spider-Man meet in a movie, or they could even do, you know, yeah, like Spider-Man 4 or Andrew Garfield. So I think there's a lot of different options that Sony has for a backup plan, and, you know, I just think that, you know, they're still kind of in the green light now. I know a lot of people are frustrated, including myself, because I said in a live stream that, you know, I'd actually smash a TV if they ended up rebooting Spider-Man. So, you know, they could do a TV series out of it, but I think, you know, they got to tread carefully of what the plan is, because I think, you know, if a lot of people heard that, you know, Maguire was coming back, I think a lot of old-timers, you know, old-time fans would eventually come back, or, you know, if they ended up doing TASM again, you know, you might not see as many people because a lot of people didn't really like that franchise. So, you know, Sony really has to use their plans wisely and really negotiate and stuff to see if, you know, the MCU Spider-Man's still a thing, and if not, what can they do to make Spider-Man as a character better. But anyways, what is your thoughts on backup plans that Sony has? You know, I really hope, like, in the back of my head, I would really hope after the 2 Tom Holland films that they would go back to Spider-Man 4 and maybe do kind of like a Logan-style movie. That's just me personally, what I would like. But if they do keep the MCU Spider-Man, all is well. You know, don't reboot it and call it Ultimate Spider-Man. You know, please don't do that. But anyways, what is your thoughts? Do make sure to subscribe, like, share, and turn your notifications on so you and your friends can stay all up to date with the latest content. But anyways, peace out.